How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another adventure with Wayne Reads. And today, we're going to continue reading Watchdog and the Coyotes by Bill Wallace. In our last adventure, we took on chapters 1 and 2. Today, let's see how far we can get in this amazing story. But first, always remember that if you want to follow along with us today, just hit the CC button in your YouTube link below, and you can follow along with the words. Now that we've gotten started, who do you think's going to join us for today's adventure? It's Red, the Irish setter from next door. Hopefully Red is going to have some good advice for us and our mystery puppy, whose name we don't know yet. Let's enjoy. Chapter 3. The sand was soft. Within a few moments, Red's nose appeared under the fence. More dirt flew and spattered in the shrubs, and he had a hole deep enough for him to squeeze through. When he stood up on my side of the fence, he kind of grunted and stretched. Man, I'm getting too old for all that work. Red didn't look quite the way I had pictured him from my view through the crack. He was nearly as tall as me, but he was sleek and trim. He had long red hair, except for tufts around his forehead and whiskers, where his coat was beginning to turn white with age. He moaned again and wiggled so the sand would fall off of his belly. After that, he sniffed me all over. Then he explored my yard and came back to sniff me again. He folded his tail to the side and sat down on one hip. Well, he announced, after his expression, "You're a coward. You're big, but you're just as gentle as you said you were." He cocked a red ear. "You're not stupid either, but you sure are mixed up. I like you so much, Red. Red is a really good addition." I tilted my head to the side. "You can tell all that from sniffing?" "Listen, pup. When you get to be my age, you learn to tell a lot about dogs and people from a good sniff." I don't know about that. A shudder made my hair stand on my back bristle as I looked at the hole Red had left under my fence. "We should hide," I whispered. "I'm in trouble already. When my master sees the hole you made, I swallowed and shook all over. I'll probably get sent to the pound. I don't want you to get sent there too." "Every time you mention the pound, your smell of fear hurts my nose," Red snorted. "My master is not going to send me to the pound." "Are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure, Readalong. Long time ago, I was running in the pasture with him and his boy. We found a pond and I jumped in. I love the water. Only thing Irish setters love more than running is swimming. Anyway, his boy, dumb kid, decides to jump in with me. Idiot didn't know how to swim. Well, he started flopping around and screaming, so I paddled over to see what was his problem. Little rascal latched onto my tail. Only thing for me to do was paddle back to the bank. Either that or let the kid drown both of us. My master got there just as I was dragging his boy up from the bank. I guess he figured the kid fell in and I jumped in to save him. Neither one of them was ever too bright. Anyway, since that day, I've never had to worry about anything. I can dig on the dirt, I can wet on the carpet, I can chew up the garden hose. He never gets mad at me. Thinks I'm the greatest dog that ever lived. So quit worrying about the hole, it's not a problem. You're the one with the problem." "Thank you so much, Red." I nodded and sat down on my haunches to face him. "You're right," I sighed. "I really do have a problem. This is my third master. The other two got mad at me and gave me away. My friend Scotty told me that he was on his third master, but when his master got mad with him, he didn't give him away. He took him to the pound. And my master's mad at me. And I sniffed. I don't even know what I did wrong." Red flipped his tail to the side and rocked on his other hip. "The guy you told me about, the one all dressed in black, that was a burglar. He must have taken things from your master's house. That's why all the cars with blue and red lights showed up after your master got home. Why didn't you stop the guy? How? Red cocked his ears and tilted his head. Bite him, you dunce. Take a chunk out of his leg. Growl at him. Chase him. I fell to the ground and covered my head with my paws. Oh, that's a terrible idea, I whimpered. I can't bite. That's why my last master gave me away. I promised then I'd never bite anything living as long as I lived. Remembering made me hurt inside. My tail tucked under. My head hung low, and my ears drooped so tight against my sides of my face that I couldn't hear the desert wind. Gently, Red reached down with his nose and lifted one of my ears. Calm down, pup, he soothed. It can't be all that bad. Tell me about it. Start at the beginning. When Red told me to start at the beginning, he probably didn't mean the very beginning. Which is true, right, buddy? But that was when my problems really started. So I told him about how it was the biggest puppy my mama had ever had. She told me that of her 2 litters, I was by far the greatest Great Dane ever. So he's a Great Dane? And we have an Irish Setter and a Great Dane. A Great Dane that just watches. Very, very interesting. I guess that's why my brothers and sisters complained so much, and why they called me a bully. When they shoved for the best sleeping spot, I shoved back. When they tried to muscle for Mama's best milk, I wouldn't budge. I was so big, I always got what I wanted. When we played and wrestled and bit each other, I told Red, even if I was trying to be gentle, they yapped and squealed because I bit too hard. With my paw, I brushed my whisker. The memories made me so sad that even my whiskers drooped. I didn't try to be mean. I was just big. It wasn't really my fault, but, well, it always hurt when they called me a bully. So I tried my very best not to hurt them when we played. I guess I should have figured out then that I was just too big to bite, even if it was only play biting. Mama was the only one who really liked me. She used to look real proud when she saw how big I was. Whenever I chased sparrows away from her food bowl, she told me that someday I would be a great watchdog. I looked up at Red. That's what I've always wanted to be, as long as I can remember. I wanted to make my mama proud. I wanted to be a great watchdog. That's what I did last night. I watched. Red lay down and rested his chin on his paws so he could look at me straight in the eye. To be a good watchdog, you've got to do more than just watch. Now I understand that your brothers and sisters calling you a bully hurt your feelings, but that doesn't explain why the panic you went into when I asked you why you didn't bite the burglar. There's got to be more to it than what you're telling me. At least you could have done is bark at him. I covered my eyes with my paws. Red pushed them aside. Tell me, maybe talking about it. Well, you are such a good boy. You are such a good boy for the story. Red is so cool. Red is so good. Tell me, maybe talking about it will help. The very thought was enough to make me whimper. I forced back the sound and tickled my whispers with my tongue. My first master was a little boy, I began. Well, he wasn't a little boy. He was a big little boy. We lived in California, and he used to tie a red bandana around my neck and take me to the beach. I'd run and romp, and when girls would pet me and say how big and nice I was, he'd come up and flirt with them. We had a good thing going. Only, like I said, he was a big little boy. I was still a puppy when he went away to his place called college. I missed him. I'd get so lonely I couldn't stand it. At night I'd cry and howl. The daddy didn't like that. He yelled at me and even threw water at me. The neighbors had a cat. Sometimes the cat would come over and climb on our roof. Sometimes cars would park in the alley behind our house. Every time the cat climbed on our roof or cars parked in the alley, I barked to warn the daddy what was going on. He never understood though. Each time I barked or howled, He yelled at me or threw water on me. Even the neighbors yelled at me and threw stuff. They yelled at the daddy too. People are kind of dumb animals, Red sighed. They really can't communicate too well. So what happened next? So, I continued. One day this lady came to this house. I barked to tell Daddy that someone was there. She looked mean and acted funny. I growled at her. She kicked me! Then she started pounding on the door. When the daddy didn't come, she started yanking the doorknob to try and get in. I was so afraid she was going to hurt Daddy, so, I sniffed. I bit her. I nipped her right on her flabby bottom. I figured it would make her go away. Only she didn't go away. She started screaming and crying and yelling. That Eddie came running to the door. He kept yelling at me and hitting me with a rolled up magazine. He told me that if I ever bit his mother again, he'd take me straight to the pound. I looked up at Red and swallowed the big knot and lump in my throat. I didn't know it was his mama. I was just trying to protect him. We're learning a lot more about this watchdog, aren't we? Red gave a little sigh. It was an honest mistake. It wasn't really your fault. That's what I tried to tell him. Only, yeah, Red knew what I was going to say. Only he didn't understand dog. I nodded. About a week after that, the daddy's brother came to visit from Oklahoma. He had a little boy who came out and played with me in the backyard. He was really tiny, so I was careful not to knock him down. I really liked him. Anyway, the daddy told his brother that I needed the boy to play with, and since he lived in a farm in the country, my barking wouldn't bother the neighbors. He never mentioned that I bit his mother. The brother took me to live with them in Oklahoma. Red rolled to his side and rested his cheek on the ground. You bit someone else when you got to Oklahoma, right? My ears twitched. Well, no, not really. You barked at stuff, or you... Red suddenly started and glared at the fence. Who's that? That's Pokey, I told him. He and his master just moved into the new house 2 days ago. What is he? I shrugged. Don't know. He won't talk to me. When I tried to make friends, he growled and told me how big he was and how mean and terrible he had said if I ever got a hold of him, he'd chew my head off. You never seen him? No. The fence board on that side are too close together. I can't see through them at all. But I know he's big and really mean. He told me so. Red snorted. He made that grunting sound when he stood up. I followed him across the yard. Hi, my name's Red, and I'm an Irish setter. This is my friend. Get away from me, Art! The smell and the high, sharp growl from the other side of the fence warned us. Back off, or I'll rip both of you to shreds. I'm big and tough and mean. Red's white eyebrows scrunched low on his red forehead. You sound and smell like a beagle. There was another growl from the far side of the fence. Yeah, that's right, but I'm huge. I'm the biggest, meanest beagle you ever saw. And if you mess with me, No one's gonna mess with you, Red snorted. I'm too old to fight, and this pup here is nothing but a pussycat. I'm not a pussycat, I pounded. I'm a Great Dane. Some Great Dane, he ruffled. You may think you're a Great Dane, but you may think you're a watchdog, but you act like a pussycat. Through the fence, he explained to Pokey what happened with the burglar last night. Pokey just growled at him. Red told him that he had dug a hole under my fence so we could be friends, and he could help me. Pokey only snarled. Red confided in him that even though he was old, he still got lonely and figured it would be nice to have a friend. Since I'm out making friends, I figure I might as well make friends with you too. I don't want to make friends, Pokey barked. I'm too big and mean to have friends. Red looked at me and winked. We'll just see. With that, he trotted to the corner where my back fence joined the side where Pokey lived. My eyes flashed in terror as he started digging. I was going to pound for sure. Not only had I messed up and let the burglar in, and now there was going to be a huge hole in the backyard, and I'd get blamed for it. Well, I think we're about to meet a new friend. We still haven't gotten our Great Dane's name yet, but it sounds like we're about to meet a beagle. And of course, our new friend Red here has all the answers. Thank you for being with us today and helping out our friend in the book. We'll see you next time, buddy. And we'll see you for the next adventure with Wayne Reads. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one.